Toronto Police Initiative Project Hope supports African newcomers and refugees get settled in Toronto. 2 years ago, Detective Constable Mustafa Popalzai and Constable Farzad Ghotbi formed Project Hope with the support of 51 Division to collect household items and clothing for the thousands of Afghan refugees that came to the GTA after the Taliban assumed control of the country. Both officers, refugees to Canada themselves, wanted to meet newcomers to ensure they had essential household items, but also to offer advice about the culture and laws of their new home. They started with a truckload of donations of clothing, baby products, and toys that they brought to a hotel housing people who left the country with a suitcase at most. To date, Project Hope has donated more than $600,000 worth of goods to hundreds of families. 1 year ago, Project Hope team expanded their initiative to all newcomers and refugees coming to Canada from all parts of the world. The latest group that Project Hope is helping with donations are refugees from North Africa, temporarily housed in a church located in North York. They dropped off almost $40,000 worth of donations and provided information sessions to raise awareness and guide the refugees on their rights and laws in Canada. I interviewed Detective Constable Mustafa Popalzai to know more about the initiative.
My name is Mustafa Popalzai. I'm a detective constable at 51 Division, Toronto Police Service. I was a neighborhood officer in Regent Park for over 3 years, and I've worked in this community for almost 6+ years now. But currently I'm assigned to the major crime unit here in 51 Division.
Why did you choose to become a community police officer?
Community policing has always been my passion. That's one of the main reasons I even got into policing. I love working with the community, I love working with the people, especially our youth. When I was a neighborhood officer here in Regent Park, I run a lot of youth programs. I saw a need for it. I felt that as officers we could do a better job connecting with our youth, especially in Regent Park. They hear a lot of negative things either in the media or outside. And I wanted to make sure that they understand that we're with them, we're not against them. I wanted to make sure that they feel safe. I wanted to make sure that they feel that they could trust the police, which is a key point, especially for me, because I wasn't born and raised in Canada. I came to Canada as a refugee, so I totally understand those mistrust issues between the police and the community, especially with the youth. And therefore myself and my partner Farzad Ghotbi, who was also a neighborhood officer in Regent Park, we began a lot of community programs for the youth, some of which were boxing. We had a really nice boxing program. We ran a basketball program in Regent Park Community Center, a soccer program, and also a cricket program at Lord Dufferin. Believe it or not, cricket is really popular in Regent Park, so we're really glad to have a cricket program for the youth as well.
What is Project Hope?
Project Hope, the name defines itself. Project Hope is an initiative where we as police officers wanted to give the newcomers and refugees who are coming to Canada from war-torn countries or anywhere from the world a peace of mind and some hope. A hope that their life can be better, will be better. It's always difficult coming as a newcomer and refugee to a new country, and that's why we began Project Hope. Well, initially it started in 2021 when the Afghan refugees were fleeing Afghanistan due to the conflict and the war. Approximately 40,000 of them were lined up to come to Canada, and at the time we received a large number of them, in thousands, coming in warplanes without any backpacks, without any clothes, without anything. So we decided to go take a visit at the local hotels, which we did, and we just saw their state and situation. Me being from Afghanistan, I was born in Kabul, Afghanistan, and I spent half of my life almost there. It was important for me to understand what they were going through, because I myself came as a refugee in the year 2000. And when I came, for the next 10 years of my life, I had no interaction with police. And part of that was because of my experiences as a child, growing up in a third world country, or in a country where police wasn't really well trusted, I should say. They weren't known for having the best police officers due to the environment, due to the political situation, for whatever reason may be. I didn't have the best of experiences, and that's why I never really interacted with officers for a very long time. Thank God I changed my mind and actually looked into policing, and it turned out to be something that I truly enjoy now and I truly love, and that was one of my passions and main reasons why I got into policing, because I wanted to make sure that I show people, especially newcomers and refugees, that as officers, we're not just wearing uniform, we're not just a sign of enforcement, we're not just here to arrest you. Policing is much larger than that. Policing, if you look at it, the basic description of policing is just to help people. I know this sounds really common and people always say that, but that is what really it's meant to be. That's one thing that I want to make sure that other newcomers and refugees that are coming into Canada, they don't feel the same thing that I felt. So therefore, we started a project. It initially began with giving out with clothing, necessary essential items, things like that, just to help them out because of the situation they were in. However, a large part of that was also providing them information sessions, which I held myself, and I was in different languages as well, because most of them did not speak English. So I wanted to make sure that they do understand what I'm explaining to them. And even with me, somebody who is from their basically same background as them, speaking their language, initially when they saw the uniform, it wasn't smooth, transition for them. But soon after, they realized, it all goes back to our human side, right? That's what we always talk about, humanizing the badge, humanizing the uniform. Once they got to know me, once they got to know my purpose and why I was there, their fears, their whatever insecurities they had were gone, and they were very open, very welcoming, and very happy that we're actually there as a police officer representing the Toronto Police Service to help them, provide them information. And the information that we provided wasn't just about, hey, don't do this, you will get arrested, or don't do that. It was more like, these are your rights. Now you're in Canada. We're following a different legal system here, or justice system here. Police will not just come and arrest you. Police are not just gonna bust your door and search your house, or they won't just stop you on the street for absolutely no reason, or beat you up, or even kill you, because those things did happen from where they're coming from, and that's really important for them to know their rights. So as police officers, was my duty to make sure that they also understand their roles and responsibilities as Canadian citizens as well. And a lot of them, believe it or not, were even fearful to call 911 because, based on their experiences where they were growing up, if you had called police and, let's say the call turned out to be what they called for, they would get beaten up or, punished or whatever. So I wanted to make sure that they don't feel like that here. We provided dozens and dozens and dozens of information sessions to thousands of refugees. We decided that actually Project Hope should not just be for the people that are coming from Afghanistan. So after about a year, we expanded it to all newcomers and refugees. So right now, the way it stands, Project Hope is a police initiative for all newcomers and refugees, and that includes anyone and everyone from any part of the world. So our latest group that we're helping are refugees from North Africa. We have about half a dozen countries in Africa that are having their citizens come to Canada as refugees, as newcomers, and we're in contact with a church in North York, where we just had a visit last week there, and we dropped off about almost $40,000 worth of donations at the church for them. And giving the donations and giving those items that they need is one thing, but that's just not it. We also want to provide them information sessions, which we did the same thing for the refugees that are coming from Africa. And so far the results has been amazing. We're already building trust. We're already building relationships. A lot of them are messaging me, WhatsApping me, even following me on social media, just chatting up. Things that I did not see even in my first visit when I attended the North York Church. So it all goes back to say that as officers, if we go out there, interact with the communities, and show them our human side, especially for newcomers and refugees, the results will be amazing. That will build lifelong lasting relationships.
Can you
you talk about your own experiences as a refugee?
Absolutely. My own experience as a refugee, when I came here in the year 2000, it was quite difficult for myself and for my family to adjust and adapt to a new life, pretty much a new world you're coming into. Not only the language, I did learn some English when I was 14 in school, but obviously, my level wasn't where I wanted it to be. And being one of the oldest siblings in my family, everything, all the responsibilities relied on me and fell on me. Sometimes I joke around about this, but I feel like I never really had a childhood, because growing up as in a country where I grew up, you go out there and at a very young age, right? So as soon as I finished school, at a very young age of 5, 6, I used to go work with my dad for hours at his shop. And that went on for years and years and years afterwards. So when I came here, same thing continued. I was in high school working almost full time, at local shops, just to kind of bring some, money back to my family in a system because of their financial needs. So it wasn't easy. Coming here as a refugee, as a newcomer, wasn't easy. On top of it comes those, negative experiences that I had growing up, interacting with officers, and that's why it took me a very long time to get over them. Finally, in the year 2012, when I had a civilian job with the Ottawa Police, that's where I kind of, got to know the system and got to know some officers, and I felt like, hey, this is something that I could do, because policing. Initially, I wanted to go to law school. To give you a little background, I wanted to be a lawyer. I went to Carleton University. I did a 4 years Bachelor of Arts in Law, and I also got my Master's in Legal Studies. So I was on route to go to law school and become a lawyer. And then this opportunity presented itself. I have to thank my little brother, who's also a Toronto police officer now. He's not little anymore, but at the time he was. When we first came to Canada, he always wanted to be a police officer. He was much younger when he came to Canada. Maybe his experiences were a little different, since he wasn't really out there like I was back home. Just speaking to him and just working that civilian job with all the police really changed my mind and perception. And today I'm really glad that I have joined policing, because I feel like I give back. I could talk about my experiences. I have a platform where I could reach out to a lot of youth. Especially, I really believe strongly in our youth, because they are our future, and we have to make sure that they don't have any negative perceptions in their mind. And if they do, and if they had some negative experiences, then we need to speak to them, we need to communicate them, we need to find ways to listen to them. We need to listen to them to see why they had those negative experiences. And believe it or not, a lot of times, based on my experiences, a lot of it was information that wasn't just correct, right? So, just by speaking to them, you get to understand their side. And maybe, I'm not saying always, maybe as officers, if we explain to them, the other perspective or the other sides, or the reality, or how it really is done, then maybe, again, that will change their mind, and they will no longer have those negative perceptions. Because the whole point of them having negative perceptions is we just don't want them to have any walls or barriers between us, the police, and the community. Because it's not an us and them matter. We're all one. We're actually public servants as police officers. And, we work for the community. So imagine working for a community where the community doesn't feel that you're working for them or you're there to help them. It's a lose-lose situation for everyone. And that's why whenever I speak to youth, I always tell them that at the same time, they also have responsibilities as well. It's not just a one-sided thing. Police can't solve everything. Police can't fix every problem, right? We have to work together as a community, as one unit to assist each other and keep our community safe.
What is Project Hope doing for the African asylum seekers?
Right now, we met with the pastor at the church at North York in Finch area, and we decided that sure, they needed some supplies, as I mentioned, some clothing. There's a lot of refugees that are sleeping in the gym there. They don't have proper beds. They're really in dire need of assistance till they get their housing or situation settled. So we took about $40,000 plus worth of donations to them last week in terms of clothing, shoes, backpacks, anything that they would need for their clothing purposes. And then at the same time, we also provide them information sessions to tell them about the role of policing. Officers from 32 Division, which is a local division there, they attended and they provide those information sessions. And now we're in the process of actually getting a brand new fridge and a brand new dishwasher for the church as a donation, so they could keep their food in the fridge during these hot months and make sure the dishes are all taken care of. You know, small little things, anything that we could get to assist them, to help the church. The church is not going to be a permanent spot for them to stay. It is temporary, hopefully. The sooner they get out of there and they get their own units, the better, and that's what the city is trying to do right now. But for now, last time I checked, there was about 200 plus refugees from North Africa. And other than that, because of our relationships that we have built over the last 2 years with Project Hope, and because of the community contacts, not only with organizations, but with businesses, we have a lot of connections, and that's why one of the officers actually from 51 Division, through his connections, was able to get us this brand new fridge and brand new dishwasher that we're going to donate. So it goes back to, you know, officers that are giving back to the community, and a lot of these officers just, you know, do a lot of good work without ever coming out on the media or anybody even hearing their name. But I want to make sure that they're recognized. I want to make sure that people understand that, you know, there are a lot of officers that are helping in the background. Just because you don't see them or they don't come out on media, it doesn't mean that they're not working. It doesn't mean that they're not contributing, because Project Hope is quite big now. We have over 50 plus officers that have already contributed. So it's not just one or two people that are working on this. And at the same time, we also have gathered a large pool of volunteers. So this is really important to mention because of our social media presence and because of the impact that Project Hope has made. We now have a group of 70 plus volunteers that are able to step up and help out newcomers and refugees. And we have sent pretty much all of them, deployed them to the North York Church. They're not there all the time at the same time due to obvious reasons. But you know, they are attending the church at different hours of the day and times. You know, volunteering. It could be a couple hours, it could be 4 hours, it could be 5 hours, whatever they can contribute to. These 70 plus volunteers are attending the church and helping the refugees by connecting with them. You can imagine, you know, being stuck at such a small confined place 24 hours a day, being new to a country, not speaking the language, not having enough money for entertainment or anything else, you know, they would like to do, not knowing where to go, who to go with. It's quite tough. So we actually organized some games for them in the parking lot. You know, they were playing soccer. We had the ice cream truck that attended, and our volunteers assisted with that. Just some, you know, they had some workout material in the parking lot that they were keeping busy with. I mean, I know these are not big things, but whatever we can give or whatever we could do, I feel like even if it's a drop of water in a ocean size you know, area, it's still something, you know. It's better than nothing, and that's all our goal is. If you can give, if you can do something, if you can assist, then please don't hesitate. Please help out, and that's what these volunteers are doing.
How can people get involved with Project Hope or donate to Project Hope?
The way people can get involved and the way they can donate, as I mentioned, the best thing about Project Hope is, sure, it's led by police officers and Toronto Police. However, it's open to everyone. It's everybody's project. It's just not the police services. It's just not mine. It's not just not our divisions. It's open to all. The best way for people to contribute is, you know, they could go through our social media, which is the best way, or they can contact me myself. I could leave my number and contact. I work at 51 Division. They could send me an email. But my social media page is TPS_Mustafa on Instagram. If for those that, you know, on social media, they could send me a message. They could sign up as a volunteer, and the next events or you know, the area that we have need for volunteers, we could send them there. And as far as donations, same way, they could approach us and we could figure it out and somehow plan a day where we could take the donations. But that's just a way that the community can contribute and give back to the newcomers. Thank you so much. Thanks to Regent Park Focus TV for having me here and having me speak about Project Hope, having me speak about role of police officers and our role here in Regent Park. I believe it's really important for people to understand what kind of projects or initiatives are being run, especially by the police, because as I mentioned, we are one. The community and the police we're one, and we should be working together, and there should be no barriers or walls between us. So if anybody has anything to suggest or do any collaborations, then please reach out to me through my email or my cell phone number, which I will leave with Toronto Focus.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out all of our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.